It is episode 259 of Vegas Revealed, and this week we sit down with the Queen of Burlesque inside Voltaire at the Venetian.
Dita Von Teese has a show like no other in Las Vegas. The glitz, the glamour, the vintage stories behind it. Coming up.
Before I came to Vegas a lot, I used to think, oh, it's so hard to get to Vegas, and now I find it so easy because I go back and forth all the time. So definitely don't miss the chance to see this here in Las Vegas, because it can never really go on tour. These costumes would take up a semi-truck alone.
Plus, film and food. We take you to a new experience at Area 15.
And we're talking March Madness coming up on Vegas Revealed.
Season 6 of Vegas Revealed is presented by LevelUp Law.
The way we met LevelUp Law is we were actually on the ground in Maui after the wildfires there. We worked on some videos for their website. And now with those devastating fires that happened in Southern California, LevelUp Law is on it again.
Maybe you know somebody who was injured, suffered smoke inhalation, maybe lost a home, personal property. LevelUp Law is here to help in your time of need.
You can give them a call at 855-LEVEL-UP. They're easy to get a hold of. And also, if you just have a question or whatever you need to know, they will give you a free consultation. So don't worry about that. You can also check them out online at leveluplaw.com and find out what they're all about.
But time is critical. The longer you wait, the harder it can become to receive a settlement. Call LevelUp Law now, 855-LEVEL-UP. That's 855-LEVEL-UP.
Spread the word. Let people know. If you know anyone that lives in Southern California and was affected by these fires, tell them to give LevelUp Law a call.
Call LevelUp Law now, 855-LEVEL-UP. That's 855-LEVEL-UP.
Vegas Revealed, presented by LevelUp Law, starts now.
Welcome to Vegas Revealed, episode 259. Sean McAllister and Dana Roselli here with you, and we want to start by giving a shout out to our podcast subscribers.
That's right, from all over the U.S. We've got one right here in Las Vegas, Tracy, who just did our taxes. Thank you to Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy.
Targeted Tax Relief. She's the best. She does them year after year. Also, we've got folks from Atlanta, Georgia, Texas, Colorado, the Carolinas. What up to the Carolinas? So thank you to all the subscribers that help keep this weekly audio podcast going.
Yes, and thank you for listening. And a reminder, down in our show notes, there's a link right at the top where you can text us your feedback on what you hear, ideas for what you want to hear, or if you just have like a comment or something fun to send us, please do, because we love when we get fan mail. You just click that link. It opens up a text message. We don't get any of your information. We just get your message. So if you want us to know who it's from, be sure to say, hey, this is from Paul. This is from Sandy. This is from Ken.
Yeah. And by the way, the weather in Vegas has been wonderful. I know sometimes we start by talking about the weather, but it's always worth noting. It's been just absolutely beautiful here. Just perfect. And, I've had to spend some time in New York recently, and I just realized more and more, Vegas, just the sunshine really helps keep your mood lifted.
It really does.
It does.
I mean, being back there in the Great Lakes, I know anybody who lives in that whole area of the country knows, like that winter gloom, it just stays there for months. And you need a dose of vitamin D.
You do. You really do. And I see some of my friends even on Facebook from back home saying, I just want like a day where I can go on a walk outside. And it's like, sometimes those winters can feel so long. So shout out to all of our listeners on the East Coast. Come visit us here in Las Vegas. Even if it's 50 degrees and sunny, it's nice.
That is true.
It's chilly, but
when you're here, the sun just feels 10 degrees warmer.
It does.
It's nice.
We went over and did a sit-down interview with Dita Von Teese. Now, we have told you in the past that we've talked to Dita at events and stuff. We always enjoy her, but we finally got a chance to sit down and interview with her. And we just loved it. We really did, didn't we?
She is one of those people where you're like, you know what? I just want you to be my friend.
She's so cool.
She's just so cool and down to earth, easy to talk to. She's fantastic.
Yeah. And then there's she's also glamorous. So she's got all going on. And Las Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world. Now, sometimes we see new ideas come to life. Sometimes we see old ones go away. And then often, and I feel like more so lately, it's kind of been like a mix of both.
It really has been.
New and old coming together, right?
Yeah, because Dita Von Teese, you know, as you mentioned, is the Queen of Burlesque, and she's been doing striptease since like 1992. But now she's bringing the worlds of burlesque and showgirls together.
Right. She has this like sense of elegance and sophistication in her show at Voltaire. Sean and I saw the show, I'd say a few months ago now, and we really enjoyed it. You're not going to hear a word. It's
No.
music and visuals. And what a night, though, to sit back, have a cocktail in the beautiful showroom of Voltaire at the Venetian and, you know, going to a show that starts at, 9-ish and just enjoying an evening out. It feels so old school Vegas, but like we just mentioned, but also very new.
Very new. And we loved it so much. So we thought, you know what? We really need to arrange a sit down with Dita to talk about all the things that we personally loved so much, and so that you could hear directly from her, like where all the inspiration, the passion for all of this comes from.
Yeah, we're doing a visual piece where she takes us backstage and everything on our television show, our Vegas Revealed television show, and that will be on our YouTube eventually. But we wanted to play this whole sit-down interview for you because it is so interesting. We talk everything from costumes, burlesque, showgirls, Liberace, just, everything and how Dita likes performing in Vegas. She is right now scheduled to be at Voltaire through May. So we went over, sat down with her and wanted to share that interview with you.
First of all, we saw the show. We absolutely loved it. How are you enjoying being in this theater and doing this show late night?
I mean, I love doing this show. I love being here. I love being in the Venetian. It's just like, we get a lot of people that walk up and see the show, which I love that. People have maybe never seen my show before, but heard about me. So we get a lot of that kinds of audience members. And it's a beautiful room. I mean, look at it. It's very glamorous. It's probably the most intimate room I've ever done with my shows, because usually when I'm on tour, I do like the big grand theaters. And so it's kind of fun to have the runway, which, the runway was invented for burlesque in the 1930s. So it's kind of like, full circle. People don't think about that. They think about fashion and runways, but it's very burlesque to have the runway.
And when you walked in this room, were you like,
yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful room, right? I knew, and I love the 1930s reference. I actually know the movie that the inspiration was taken from. So I'm like, oh, it's like an Art Deco jewel box. Yeah.
Talk about being in Vegas. You've been, here and there for so many years. What do you like about doing a show here, being part of things here, projects?
Well, I've only come into Vegas like on my tours. It was like one of the stops, and it's always been difficult. Or I've done the Crazy Horse, or La Femme. It was called La Femme back. The Crazy Horse Paris was called La Femme here in Vegas at MGM, which has been long gone. So I've just like dipped in over the years, and this is the first time the last, I guess, year and a half that I've spent significant time here. And I really like it because I still live in LA, and I can kind of like go back and forth pretty easily. And, I like having the presence here. I like being there's so much more I can do on stage in a show like this than I can do on tour, for instance. It's very like, it always has to be very focused and when I'm on tour, but being here, and it is like the ultimate, there's no other like showgirl style review in Vegas. There's a lot of burlesque shows, but there's nothing that has the authentic, real showgirl costumes in it. So I'm very proud of that.
And when I came to the show, I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I knew there wouldn't be like verbal, like anyone talking, but I guess it didn't, like when I was sitting there, I was thinking, oh yeah, I forgot. But I kind of really liked that.
I like the flow, and honestly, like for so long I've had a host of my show, but for some reason this time I felt like I just wanted it to flow and shift and not have like the interruption of like somebody talking. And also I tend to want to pivot from what other people do, and there's a lot of like variety shows and they have a host, usually male, they have a host, and I think I just wanted it to feel like, I'm still the host of the show. It is my life's work on stage, but I don't think you have to always come out and like crack jokes. And I'm definitely not a verbal host.
You know what?
I'm too shy.
And I think that's maybe what I liked about it, because I feel like sometimes it's forced. Everyone does think you need to have a host.
Yeah.
But your show just flowed, like you said, and I felt glamorous watching it because there wasn't these interruptions of a host and we're here for this shtick. You know, it was.
It's for me, I just think like it was a risk, and it was something I have never really done in my shows, although I've been part of shows that are like that are nonverbal, and I really like how it feels. I feel like it's just a celebration of beauty and glamour and sensuality, and you don't need somebody coming out cracking jokes. And I feel like our audience brings the energy that, you know, and they encourage others to be energetic about like how they react to things, you know. I don't think you need somebody to like get everybody fired up. I'd rather it's a little bit more difficult to get that. It's like kind of an easy thing to throw a host out there and tell them to like get people riled up for the show. It's a different thing when you're like, we're just going to do it.
I love that. And how do you decide what you want to do? I mean, because I'm sure you have so many different things you've done through the years. How are you like, this is perfect for Vegas?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was thinking when you said that, I thought, well, how do I decide the numbers? Because it's a lot of my acts that I've done for the last 25 years. And it was hard for me to choose, like, what do I want to do versus what do I want someone else to do? Right. And there's some things that I was like, oh, if I don't have to get my hair wet in this show, like the birdcage number that you see in it, I was like, oh, I'd be really glad if I don't have to get my hair wet every night. So I was happy to like put a few things on other people, like some of the things that are maybe more like, challenging like that, things that I normally would do on my tour, and I'd be like, oh, I'd have it all figured out of my hair. But yeah, I mean, there's still some things that I would love to. The beauty of this place is that I can put some of my other numbers into it, or I do fantasize about, you know, switching it around and surprising people, and I'll do things that I hadn't done before in the show before. You know,
I love that. And you can do whatever you want. It's your show. Yeah. That's the fun
I can
part.
almost do whatever I want. I'm sure you've heard about this thing called time code. I think Britney Spears complains about it in her book too, but there's a thing called time code in Vegas, especially with all the lights and the music go together. And she complains about how she couldn't change anything in her show or sing songs she wanted to because of the time code.
I've never heard of that.
No, it's like a thing.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's like really like she talks about it in her book about how she's trying to get permission to change the time code, but it costs money to bring in the time code. And I was like, yes, Brittany, I know how you feel.
I'm going to change it. There's time code. What about the costumes? How did you get these costumes, and how important is it for you to have these costumes in this show?
Yeah. Well, when I first opened the show at the Jubilee Theater, you know, I was standing in the theater and they wanted me to just bring my regular touring show there. And I said to the Caesars Entertainment owns, you know, the costumes in that venue. And I said, well, I mean, I loved Jubilee. I watched it. It was my favorite show when I came to Vegas. And I said, what happened to all the costumes and everything? And he goes, oh, they're downstairs. We don't know what to do with it. They've just been locked up. And I said, I have an idea of what we should do with it. We need to bring it back, you know, curate a selection and bring it back in a new way. Like I have showboys wearing the feathers as well, which, you know, it's a risque choice for some people, but I just felt like I wanted to update and merge what I do as a burlesque performer with a tribute to classic showgirl. I mean, it's not a classic showgirl review because certainly there were huge parameters, and respectfully, you know, showgirls are there's a huge point of difference between burlesque and what I do and showgirls. But I loved the idea of kind of modernizing the showgirl. So yeah, so it was, I'm very grateful to Caesars Entertainment for letting me use these costumes for the last, you know, year going on. And you'll see the costumes were made by Pete Menefee and Bob Mackie, and they were made for Jubilee, which ran for like 41 years almost, and I loved that show. So we have a big Bob Mackie finale. I just kind of curated a selection of those things, and they're so beautiful, and you know, there'll never really be a time again where people will spend that much money for feathers and rhinestones. You know, it's just like it's you know, when you read the stats about building those costumes or building a show like that, it was the equivalent of like the highest budget shows in Las Vegas were the showgirl reviews. So I don't know if it'll ever be like that again.
Well, I was going to say, when I was watching your show, I thought I've never seen this much sparkle. Like, you see sparkle, but like it's some major sparkle in your show.
No, well,
it's so good.
It is. I mean, do pride myself in that. My costumes are at the Swarovski Museum in Austria, and you can notice some of the vintage costumes, and then when you see some of the things I wear, it hurts your eyes almost, because the cuts of the crystal, the Swarovski crystal, have evolved so much in the last 40 years since those vintage costumes were made. But you see the glitz, but then you go, whoa, the modern crystal's crazy. So yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody can out-glitz me in the whole world, actually, when it comes to costumes.
Dita cannot be out-glitzed.
I can't be out-glitzed. You can try. Sometimes I'll show you when we go back there, but sometimes we'll have my costumes in like a box or bin, and somebody will pick it up, like a guy, whatever. We're like, what is in here? It's like rocks. And I was like, well, that's one of my costumes. I'm wearing that all at once. Yeah. Quite heavy. I can't believe it, but I love it. I love the extravagance and the decadence, and I don't ever cheap out on my costumes.
As you should not. Good, you can tell. And you helped a little bit with The Last Showgirl that's out right now. I know you lended some of the costumes?
Well, what happened is they came to me when I was first building the show, and they Gia Coppola came to me, and the whole team came to see the show multiple times. Pam came to see the show, and they hired my dancers for many of the scenes, like the showgirl scenes, and they also used the costumes, many of the things that are in my show. Yeah, so
fun. Yeah. And it's doing so well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can tell people are interested in it. And, do you ever feel like, I don't feel like it's ever gone away, but that there is a little bit of a resurgence where people want to be around that type of, I don't want to say lifestyle again, but like, that kind of feeling.
I think it's, I'm personally loved the showgirl and the history of the showgirl in Paris and Vegas, because they were very like intertwined. Don't get me started, I can talk about like showgirl history and again, like the differences between burlesque history and showgirl history. And I think like the thing that makes me sad is that there isn't an authentic showgirl review in Vegas anymore, or in Paris. It's gone. Like the Lido Paris is gone, everything is gone. And I loved the rituals and the rules of the showgirl and the way that they move a certain way. And there's a lot of like parameters, in fact, which I kind of love, but I also love burlesque because it's like a very empowering and decisive thing. Like, yes, we aren't afraid to make eye contact and to do things that are a little bit more like risque or seductive, whereas the showgirl was very much about the decorum. And I respect that, and I love what the showgirl stood for. So I'm personally sad that the showgirl does not exist in Las Vegas anymore. And I'm not even going to say that the showgirl exists on my stage, although my version of the showgirl exists here, and there is nothing like it in Las Vegas or anywhere in the world. So I'm proud of that. But I do like to make sure I give reverence to showgirl history and not claim that I'm doing what they did, because I respect them so much.
What about the evening show? I mean, that's actually where I noticed through the years, people kept moving shows up earlier and earlier in Las Vegas. So I love that you're after 9.
I love the 9 o'clock. We start at 9 o'clock sharp. I love sharpish, we like to make sure people get their seats, but I like the 9 o'clock because I think when I go to see a show, I don't want to sit and watch a show when I'm starving. I want to have dinner first. So that's why we chose to have the show at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's great. It's so good. So when we go back, so the quick change is interesting. I know we're going to look at that, but I've always wondered, and I'm excited to see how fast and what the process is. Do people help you?
Oh yeah, we have, like, there's certain things that I can go real slow on. I can take my time on. I have to do a lot of my dressing myself because putting on stockings, hooking them, the corsets, all the way that the strip tease happens. I can't have somebody else doing the important bits because, if I get stuck, I don't want to blame anyone but myself, So there's things that are quick change, but I want to show you like some of the costumes up close. I have all the beautiful Bob Mackie headdresses back there, and I would love to show some of them to you and show you how heavy they are. And
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's really for me. I'm very turned on to the vintage style costumes and how amazing they were built and how they're still looking beautiful on the stage today.
So cool. Is there something like this in LA, or should people that are watching from Southern California come see this show, and kind of why?
Yeah. There's nothing like this in LA or anywhere else in the world. I think if I may say, I know that, mine is the biggest burlesque show in history. There's not really another burlesque show quite like this. And there's no other show like it in the world. There's no showgirl review. So, and before I came to Vegas a lot, I used to think, oh, it's so hard to get to Vegas. And now I find it so easy because I go back and forth all the time. So definitely don't miss the chance to see this here in Las Vegas, because it can never really go on tour. These costumes would take up a semi-truck alone.
True.
So it's really like, I like that you have to come for the Vegas experience to really see all of this stuff. Yes, certainly I go on tour. I do a New Year's Eve gala in Los Angeles every year, but it's totally different than this show.
Is it important for even people when they come? I'm sure you encourage everyone to dress up.
I mean, one of the nice things that people love about coming to my shows in general is they make an evening of it. Like, you can come dressed to the nines. People come in tuxedos and evening gowns. You don't have to, but what a great moment to do it, and it creates a really lovely atmosphere in the room, and people do it all over the world. Like, it's one of the things people notice at my shows, whether it's in London or Australia or Paris. It's the crowd is like a fashionable vintage styled crowd, and they love it. It's just a fun thing to be able to engage in being part of creating the scene. And who doesn't want to play dress up once in a while? You should see the compliments you get when you dress up in Las Vegas.
And there's an obvious nod to showgirls with the costumes and everything, but what about the nod to Liberace that you include?
Yes. Well, I knew when I came to Las Vegas for the first time, I was like, I love Liberace. One of my other favorite things to do in Las Vegas was going to the Liberace Museum, which is now a small private museum that you can still go to. But I loved the Liberace Museum. I never missed a chance to go there. And I love Liberace. He was like a funny guy, and a funny phenomenon of someone who, me and my co-creator, Catherine Delish, we bonded on this love of Liberace and his thing that was basically, I don't know how much you know about him, but he was a pianist, but he kept he would do something different. Like, he wore a white coat when usually they wore black, and everyone went crazy. The press talked about him, so he kept one-upping himself. So I always made this vow with my friend Catherine that we're gonna raise the bar on burlesque. Every time we created a new costume or new act, it was going to become more extravagant. So I love Liberace. If you saw me at the Jubilee, you might remember I drove a car on stage. I bought a vintage car in the style of Liberace and covered it with crystal. I can't drive the car on stage here. There was a big negotiation. I really tried, but we do have a Liberace tribute in here. And one of my favorite famous male burlesque performers plays Liberace, and I play Scott. And I take away the cape, and we have a little moment, but it's just a big, fun, nonsensical Liberace glamour moment with some showboys in Bob Mackie costume.
Well, we love the show. We're happy you're here. You plan on staying for a while?
Yeah. I'm looking. We have dates through May right now, but I'm looking and seeing if I'm gonna go a little longer past that. But I love being here. I love my cast and my crew so much, and it's just delightful.
I loved how honest she was. And you could just tell. I was so comfortable interviewing her because I felt like she just answered right away. She didn't have to overthink anything. I mean, she's the real deal.
Well, and she is just so confident in herself, in her craft. I mean, she is top notch. Love Dita Von Teese.
And I know we're not supposed to comment on people's looks, but I mean, she is gorgeous and flawless in person. Let me tell you.
Yes, she is indeed.
Well, she did take us backstage. And again, we will put that on our YouTube channel. We have a Vegas Revealed YouTube channel. We put all our video segments on there, and then our full shows that run on TV here in Las Vegas on Fox 5. So feel free to look for that shortly. I think you'll really enjoy visually seeing, what happens. And we'll put stuff on our social too.
Yeah, without a doubt. Something else we think you might really enjoy is a new cinematic experience here in Las Vegas. You've heard us talk here before about dive-in movie series that some casinos do, where you splash in the pool and watch the film. Other times in the winter, when there's ice skating rinks, there's films that are shown under the stars too. Well, there is a new film experience that's happening over at Area 15, and this one is really, really tasty.
It is. It's called Fork and Film. the experience is being billed as culinary cinema, basically. So what does that mean? Well, I think you're really going to like this. You're going to want to go over there after you listen to this, because we went over and interviewed the founders. And again, this is at Area 15. So we talk with the founders who thought this idea up, and it's really interesting to hear how they thought it up and where it's gone from there. Listen.
So Fork and Film is an immersive culinary experience where we recreate dishes exactly from the movie and serve them as you see them on screen. So some of your favorite nostalgic movies and your favorite characters eating those dishes, you're able to try them at the same time that they're eating them.
And how do you decide what films to pick?
We picked the films based off of nostalgia. These are movies that we grew up with and that we love, and we want to bring people back into the cinema because, cinema took a big hit during the pandemic. So we started as a pop-up, actually on the rooftop of my apartment. We put it on for a few friends and a few influencers, and after the first time, it just blew up, went viral on TikTok. But now we generally have residencies in all the cities that we're in. We mostly partner with hotels, so Area 15 is super different than our other venues, and we're very excited about this one. It's just so unique, but we're here to stay.
So Nick and I will choose the movie, we'll create the menu, come up with our ideas, and then we have an executive chef that helps us create those into food moments with all of the ingredients, and then she shares them with our amazing on-site chef. So we have an amazing chef, Chef Rain, here in Area 15, and she executes all of the recipes that our executive chef hands off to her.
Ratatouille is a great menu. So it's French themed. We start off with a trash can salad. So Remy and the rats are rummaging through the trash can, and you get to rummage through the trash can as well. Then when Remy is cooking the soup, he's stirring the soup, he's throwing some ingredients in there. We bring out a small little tiny soup pot, and you get to make your own soup while Remy is making the soup. We also have some rat poison, and no rats were harmed in the making of this, but we do have some rat poison with a rat trap and dry ice. It looks great. And then at the end, what the movie is named after, Ratatouille, we have Ratatouille, and it looks exactly how it looks on screen when the critic Ego is eating the Ratatouille. It's perfect.
How about eating the food along with it? What's the reaction to that?
I think my most favorite reaction is watching them see it on screen, and then they lift up their plate and they're like, look, it's the same thing. Yeah.
You just see like a sea of phones pop out. As soon as the food comes on camera or comes on the screen, their cameras just come up to take the videos.
Popcorn is like the iconic movie food. Is popcorn a part of it?
Yes, absolutely. I love popcorn. She got me a popcorn maker as one of our first gifts when we were first dating. So yes, there has to be popcorn. When you come in, you get popcorn and you get a glass of champagne before the movie starts. Sit down, listen to some good music. And then each menu is about 5 to 6 food courses and then 2 to 3 cocktails. So you'll leave full when you come. For March and April, we have a few Disney classics. We have Mulan. We also have Alice in Wonderland. And then we have Monsters, Inc. and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And then Coco. Yeah, Coco for May.
Are there any movies or genres that are like off the table when it comes to a Fork and Film experience?
No, not at all. So, our audience loves Disney movies. We have a lot of Disney adults, but we do other movies too. We do Mean Girls. We have Mean Girls coming up in a few weeks here, and we've done White Chicks. For Halloween, we did Scream, and we had scare actors dressed up like Scream, chasing people around. And then for Christmas, we did a Christmas series for The Office. So we do TV shows as well. So nothing's off limits.
Really, just what a clever idea to, have something that started with a group of friends on a rooftop and have it now here in Las Vegas and so many other cities. You can go to Fork and Film, that's FORKN film.com to see the schedule and buy tickets. But we are told that they do sell out pretty frequently. So if this is something that you want to do, make sure you plan ahead, get those tickets so you don't miss out.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
If you've experienced a slip and fall, were injured in a place of business or on a construction site, call LevelUp Law. Do you have a wrongful death case or been in a motor vehicle accident, even harmed in a rideshare? Call LevelUp Law now at 855-LEVEL-UP.
Give LevelUp Law a call. We're here to listen.
Elevate your case with LevelUp Law. We've got your back. Call 855-LEVEL-UP. Your journey to justice starts here. LevelUp Law. Justice at your fingertips.
All right, let's do some tips. Okay, for tips, we are talking March Madness, and I'm going to push over to Sean a little bit because I actually have never This is one thing as a Vegas insider I have not done.
Dana.
March Madness.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun.
Now, I have watched basketball games kind of leading up to, well, I guess March Madness is what? Is it just the 4 days, or is it like all of March? Because I've definitely watched basketball leading up to the Final Four.
Yeah, so this is like March 20th. The tournament goes through, I think, April 7th, early April. But it starts, the crazy, fun, exciting, nonstop, action-packed part is March 20th, 21st, and 22nd. That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's when the most games are being played. That's like, when you're filling out a bracket, both of the sides have all those teams to choose from. That's when these games are being played. So it is action from morning until night and multiple games going on. And it is just so fun to be around a group of people when all of these games are happening, because you hear cheers from this part of the room for one game and then the other part of the room for another. And then when there's something crazy going on, the entire room erupts. So it's just so much fun, and there's no place that does it like Las Vegas.
I know. So, I mean, we always say this. There are too many places to name.
There are.
But I know you've experienced some. We kind of go over this every other year. But first of all, we got a press release this morning when we're recording this, talking about something happening over at the Palms. And so I wanted to just quickly mention that. And then you've got a bunch of other ones. But it's Basketball Bonanza returning at the Palms. And what I love about the Palms is it is just set off the Strip. And they do have the free parking, which is always nice. People like that, especially if they're going to go spend the day somewhere, because you're not, even as a local, when you go to some of these places, you get the 3-hour time limit and that kind of thing. So parking is free at the Palms, and there's free general admission daily to this event, which is March 20th to the 23rd. And they're transforming the Palms pool actually into this basketball hub. I think Shane, your husband, went last year, and they do all these LED screens. They have the live betting action, interactive games, DJs, food, drink specials, all that kind of thing. And so that's really different. I love the outdoor aspect.
Yeah, that is. That's really fun. And to have it poolside, I mean, all resorts are actually heating their pools now. Which is something that they didn't used to do. But you're going to be out in the sun. Great way to watch a game. Obviously, Circa Stadium Swim is another great spot to go and catch all the games because they have so many screens there. The Westgate does Hoop Central every year, where not only is there a ton going on inside their huge sports book that they have at the property, but they turn the International Theater into a sports viewing arena too. And they have the betting stations, food stations, all that kind of stuff. Fontainebleau is doing a March Mania event this year as well. And I've watched at the South Point before. For a few years went down. They turned their big convention space into a big viewing area. And I know Planet Hollywood I've been to in the years past. Pretty much every property is going to have something going on, a big event. A lot of times it's for players, like casino players.
Now, can you make like a game time decision like that day? Be like, oh, let's go to a March Madness thing. Or do you like have to book ahead?
It's better to book ahead. It's better to book ahead, have a plan, know what you're going to do, because otherwise it feels like you're just wandering around aimlessly trying to find something. Mm-hmm. And you don't want that.
Yeah, you don't.
You want to know where you're going in the morning and plop down there and enjoy the entire day.
And, unconfirmed, but I have heard buzz on social media, and do not know this because I was not out on the Strip on Super Bowl weekend. People saying it was a little slower than normal.
Yeah.
Super Bowl weekend. So I'm hoping March Madness will bring in a lot of people like it usually does.
I hope so, because, there's groups of friends that will come in and gather here from, if they're spread across the country, they'll all come here and meet to watch the games. And that's a fun thing. So I hope that it is a busy time because these games are so much more fun when there are a lot of people around.
Oh, yeah. And I do remember whenever I'm out and about, like I remember I was at Caesar's Palace one night heading to an event and you hear all these screams from the sports book.
Yep.
And somebody upset somebody, another team. And that's all. But it was so funny because when I was home recently, my dad was like, turn on a game. I want to watch basketball. And I'm like, but it's like 3:00 in the middle of the day. And this was East Coast time, And I did notice there are games on regardless all the time.
There are.
And I'm like, what? There's like games all day long, college basketball, well, afternoon, evening. So I was like, wow. I mean, college basketball is a big deal. I wonder because the Super Bowl, I feel like we had so much tragedy in January in the United States.
Yeah,
it
was.
We had
January was
plane
tough.
crash, and we had what happened in New Orleans, and so many different things
LA,
leading up to the LA fires, leading up to Super Bowl. I wonder if people just decided to kind of hunker down and just say,
it could be.
Yeah. I wonder. And I know a lot of people on the East Coast have the February recess and then spring break's coming up in March. So we'll see. Hopefully you can get out and enjoy though. And like Sean said, plan ahead. That's always the best option. If you want to look up different places, hotel casinos, sports books, that kind of thing, you can download the VegasNearMe app. They have all the restaurants, all the different hours, locations, maps. You can book a show if you're looking to come in and also go to a show that evening. VegasNearMe is free to download. You don't even have to put in your email. And so we highly recommend it.
And as always, thank you to our presenting sponsor, LevelUp Law. If you've been injured in a rideshare at a place of business, if you think you have a case but don't know who to talk to, give LevelUp a call. 855-LEVEL-UP is their number, and they'll listen to your situation and see how they can help. It's a free consultation, so you got nothing to lose there. 855-LEVEL-UP or go to leveluplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we will talk to you next week.
My name is George Meyer, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of a new app called VegasNearMe. I started this project because I was frustrated after missing a Journey concert. Over 1,000 shows and events are in the app. In fact, the app now offers the best prices on shows and events in the city. The app now also includes amazing coupons and deals, including $99 bottle service. Download the free VegasNearMe app today.